Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
And I am Tom. We're going to continue talking about the Danish girl, A Search for Identity. The last couple of times we talked about the novel, we talked about the plot of the novel, and we also talked about the author himself. Well, now we're actually going to talk about some of the ideas in this novel. Let's talk about some of the ideas in this novel now. So what we're going to do is read through the content of our lesson, and we'll come back to talk about it. First and foremost, The Danish Girl is a novel about identity. Einar Wegener teeters between his biological role and that of Lily, struggling to find a balance between the man he's been for decades and the woman he desires to become. Einar begins his metamorphosis reluctantly, unsure of the new qualities his female alter ego exhibits. Lily refuses to be squashed, though, ultimately becoming too powerful for Einar to resist. Einar finds it impossible to live with both identities fighting for control, and this anxiety brings him to the brink of suicide. Only Professor Bulk's arrival eases Einar's distress in his search for identity. With Bulk's assistance, Einar is finally reborn as Lily. In making this transition, Lily gives up both her previous name and painting, rejecting them as things that belonged to a person who no longer exists. Despite believing her dismissal of artistic creation separates her from the artist she was, Lily remains true to art until the end. She simply trades the traditional canvases for her mind and body, with which she creates the existence she yearns for. Lily's final masterpiece is, in essence, herself. Greta, steadfast in her love and support for both Einar and Lily, doesn't dwell on her husband's rejection of the past. In fact, Einar's transition into Lily deepens their intimacy, allowing them to discover their most authentic and vulnerable selves. Without this fundamental love, Lily would never be able to emerge. Her survival depends on Greta's love and acceptance. The same proves true in reverse. Greta's art flourishes with Lily as her muse. Indeed, the more Lily comes alive, the more Greta's portraits become a testament of Greta's love for the woman Lily has become.
Okay, guys, let's look at the first paragraph. The first sentence says, first and foremost, The Danish Girl is a novel about identity. First and foremost is more important than anything else, or more than anything else. What is this novel about? Identity. So there are other themes and ideas within the novel, but this is the most important one.
Well, first and foremost, The Danish Girl is a novel about identity.
Yeah.
And I imagine that a number of our listeners are young people, and they're probably still struggling with this idea of identity, not your sexual orientation so much as just basically who you are. What's your career going to be? What kind of person are you? Are you friendly? Are you social? Are you shy? Are you ambitious? Yeah, you're probably all struggling with this idea, but the main idea in this book is about identity, especially in terms of whether you're a boy or a girl. Now, Einar Wegener, remember, that's the artist, the man. He started off as a man. He teeters between his biological role and that of Lily, struggling to find a balance between the man he's been for decades and the woman he desires to become. So he's kind of teetering between these two things. This verb here, teeter, means that you're kind of balancing between one thing and another. Sometimes you kind of swing this way. Sometimes you kind of swing that way. Think of a seesaw, for example. Chow chow ban, as you say in Chinese. Kids call that thing a teeter-totter in English sometimes because one side's up sometimes and the other side's up at other times. Teetering, going going back and forth between one thing and another.
Yeah, so he does. He goes back and forth between his biological role of being a male and that of Lily, who is female. And he just struggles to find that balance. But because he's been a man for decades, right? Before he feels that desire to become a woman. So the next sentence says, Einar begins his metamorphosis reluctantly, unsure of the new qualities for his female alter ego that this female alter ego exhibits. When you talk about someone's metamorphosis, it could be an insect, an animal, or even a person. It just means a complete change from one form to another. For example, many of you know what a frog is, right? Well, when a frog is a baby, it's called a tadpole. And tadpoles actually live full-time in the water. And then they start that metamorphosis or transformation, right? We learn transformation. And they turn into a frog, which is an animal that can live on the land. So this is the metamorphosis that Einar goes through. It says he does this reluctantly. So he's not really willing to at first because he's unsure of the new qualities his female alter ego exhibits. What's an alter ego?
Another identity, right? So I guess I could think of superheroes.
Superman, right.
Right. I guess Clark Kent's alter ego is Superman, or Peter Parker's alter ego is Spider-Man. So, basically, if you're two people at different times, you have an alter ego. Alter means to change. Ego means yourself. So, indeed, he's trying to figure out what his new female alter ego is all about. What sort of qualities she exhibits. To exhibit just means to show. So, yeah, she's struggling with this as she tries to figure out who she is, how she should look, how she should behave, etc. Now, Lily refuses to be squashed, though. If you're squashed, you are basically crushed or squeezed with a lot of force so that you basically become flat. Lots of people like to squash cockroaches, for example.
I do.
Someone said that to me one time. They thought that I was kind of useless, and they said that I should be taken out and squashed like a cockroach. That wasn't a very nice thing to say, but that person had some mental problems. But yeah, you could squash cockroaches for sure if you don't like them. But her identity will not be squashed. It will not be destroyed. It becomes too powerful for Einar to resist. If you resist something, that means you can say no, you can stay away from it. We can say this about the opposite sex sometimes. Oh, John, you're so handsome to resist. I've just got to be close to you all the time.
Okay, so she finds it, or he finds it impossible to live with both identities, fighting for control. So he kind of has an internal battle going on inside him. The man versus the woman. And this anxiety brings him to the brink of suicide. He can't take the pressure, the stress, the anxiety. And if something brings you to the brink of something, it means you go to the very edge of something. So brink just means an extreme edge. It could be the cliff of a mountain or a steep slope. The brink of the pond just means the edge of the pond or water. Here, brink of suicide just means almost ready to commit suicide. But if you're on the brink of suicide, you haven't quite killed yourself yet. Only Professor Bulk's arrival eases or makes his distress less painful while he's searching for his new identity. Remember, Professor Bulk is a German doctor who agrees to perform some very risky surgery. It's experimental. It hasn't really been done successfully in the past. It's a dangerous thing to do, but Einar feels it's the only path for him to have some peace in his life. So he goes ahead, and with Bulk's assistance or help, Einar is finally reborn as Lily.
Right, and we all know how mellow and laid-back Danish people are. And when he finally met a German doctor, he was reassured because we know Germans are really good at stuff. They make great cars and stuff like that. So he thought, hey, this is a German doctor, Dr. Bulk. He must be good because he's German. So I can trust my life with him. If he gives me this surgery, I will come out as a wonderful new person. It will be a great metamorphosis, just like a tadpole turning into a frog or a caterpillar turning into a butterfly.
Right. Well, in making this transition from male to female, Lily gives up both her previous name and painting. At this point in Einar's life, he takes on the name Lily. So he lets go of Einar, which is a male name, takes on Lily, which is a female name, and also stops painting. You know, that was his career. That was his passion as an artist. He painted and he stopped painting, rejecting them, the name and the activity of painting, as things that belong to a person who no longer exists. So his thinking was, I'm not going to take the name Einar, and I'm not going to paint because Einar painted. I'm Lily, so I do something else.
Right, so she rejected those things, the name and the career, and she chose the name Lily. But let's take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
大家好，欢迎收听 English Digest， 我是 Trevor。今天我们继续阅读 Unit 14文学单元的文章。在今天的课程中，我们会学到《丹麦女孩》这本小说所要表达的意义，以及小说角色彼此间的互相依存。文章的第一段提到，《丹麦女孩》是本关于身份认同的小说。书中的主角 Einar 在其天生的男性角色和后来自己认同的女性角色中挣扎着，甚至到了想自杀的程度。幸亏 Bulk 教授的协助， Einar 才能变成自己所认同的女性角色 Lily。 首先我们看到第一段第二句的前半部分， Einar Wegner teeters between his biological role and that of Lily。 艾恩纳·维基纳在自己与莉莉的生物性别间摇摆。我们看到本句的一个动词 teeter T-E-E-T-E-R， 意思是 to stand or move in a way that is not steady and makes you seem about to fall， 也就是摇摇欲坠、蹒跚而行的意思。其常用片语 teeter on the brink B-R-I-N-K 或是 edge E-D-G-E of something， 就是指处于什么什么的边缘，濒临什么什么的意思。例如 After losing all its money in this investment, the company is teetering on the brink of bankruptcy. 在这次投资失去了所有的钱后，这家公司正濒临破产。接着我们看到本句有一个指示代名词 that 是用来代替前面提过的事物以避免重复，像本句的 that 就是代替前面提到的 the biological rule。 that 是用来代替单数，如果要代表复数的话则是用 those。 很多人会分不清 that、one、it 之间的差别。简单来说， one 指的是前面提过不特定的同类事物，例如 I don't like this hat, please give me another one。 我不喜欢这顶帽子，请给我另一顶。本句的 one 指的是前面提过的 hat， 但却没有特定是指哪一顶 hat。 而 that 则是指前面提过特定的同类事物，例如 The color of my car is brighter than that of yours。 我车子的颜色比你车子的颜色明亮。 That 是指前面提过的 the color， 而且有特定是指你的车子的 color。 最后 it 指的就是前面提过的那个事物，例如 Mike didn't like his hairstyle and decided to change it。 麦克不喜欢他的发型，决定要改变它。这句的 it 指的就是前面提过的 hairstyle， 而且就是那个 hairstyle。 我们再看到第一段的倒数第二句， Aina finds it impossible to live with both identities fighting for control, and this anxiety brings him to the brink of suicide。 艾恩娜发现要与两个争夺控制权的身份共处是不可能的，而这种焦虑使他处于自杀的边缘。本句中有一个 it， 这个 it 是做虚受词用，真正的主词是后面的不定词片语 to live with both identities。 it 做虚受词用的常见句型为主词加动词， 像是 think, believe, find, consider 等，加形容词或名词，加 to 加原形动词。例如 Tracy considers it necessary for her to drink a cup of coffee in the morning. 崔西认为在早晨喝一杯咖啡是必要的。又或者是 Mr. Wang made it a rule for his children to come back home by 10 p.m. 王先生使他的孩子在晚上10点前回来，这件事成了一个规定。
We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back. Stay tuned.
Okay, we will continue talking about our lesson right now. We're talking about the Danish girl and the concept of identity. Remember, Einar used to be a boy. Well, I should say Lily used to be a boy. With the name Einar. He became a her and changed his name Einar to her name Lily, okay? And in order to sort of make herself feel better about her identity, she rejected everything she had been as a man, and the fact that she was a painter, or he was a painter back then, was also rejected. And so she had to sort of start her life all over again. She had to turn over a new leaf.
Oh, she really did. But even though she believed that after dismissing or giving up her art, that she would no longer be an artist that she had been before. It says here that Lily remains true to art until the end. How does she remain true to art if she's not an artist? Well, she simply trades the traditional canvases for her mind and body with which she creates the existence she yearns for. This is kind of a complicated sentence, but it just means she's no longer painting or producing art on traditional things like canvases. A canvas is that very thick fabric or cloth that artists paint on. She no longer uses that for art. She uses her mind and her body because she's actually creating art with her life, you could say. And she creates the existence. Your existence is your life that she yearns for. And to yearn for something, guys, just means you really, really want something very, very badly. You don't just want it, you yearn for it. So it's a strong, strong feeling of hope for something or desire for something.
So again, she trades those canvases for her mind and body. So that's the phrase there, to trade something for something else. I'll give you this and you give me that. So basically, she decides to not paint like an artist. They paint on canvases. She's just going to use her mind and body as her canvas, and she creates this existence that she yearns for. She really wants to have this identity. And so her final masterpiece is, in essence, herself. So in essence means basically, it's herself. She herself is the masterpiece. I suppose we could all say that about ourselves as well.
Oh, yeah. We could say that all of our lives are our final masterpieces because we're creating art from our lives, right? So we're the same as Lily. We're just using our lives as our masterpieces, or that's a symbol of our masterpiece. Oh, now Greta is the wife, remember? She's steadfast in her love and support for both Einar and Lily. She loved Einar and married him as a man, and she still loves and supports Lily after Lily becomes a female or a woman. And she doesn't dwell on or keep thinking about her husband's rejection of the past. She just kind of goes with the flow and accepts whatever Lily wants to believe. If you dwell on something, guys, it means, oh, that's all you can think about. You're kind of obsessed with it. You shouldn't ever dwell on your failures because it can really just make you depressed. I think it's good to learn from our failures so we don't repeat them. But don't dwell on them. Don't dwell on sad things in your life. Look forward, look positive, look ahead. And that's what Greta does. She just goes and moves forward into the future with Lily.
Yeah, this certainly sounds like those Scandinavians. Boy, they are certainly laid back and mellow. They can just take it. So she thinks, I could be uptight and upset about my husband becoming a woman and rejecting me. No, I'm just not going to dwell on it. Things happen, life goes on. In fact, Einar's transition into Lily deepens their intimacy. Intimacy is how close you are with someone. It could mean that you're having a romantic relationship, but not necessarily.
Not necessarily, yeah.
It just means you're very close. You understand each other very well. You share your secrets. You trust each other. Stuff like that. So, yes, actually, they become more intimate or they become closer that way. It allows them to discover their most authentic and vulnerable selves. Authentic means really, truly what you are. Sometimes we kind of go through life with a sort of image of ourselves, but we know it's kind of fake. I'm not really this way, but I'm trying to convince other people that I'm this way. We kind of fool ourselves, but now they kind of both understand each other. I know you're not really that way. I know you're just pretending. I totally understand you. I understand your authentic self. And they also know their vulnerable selves. Vulnerable means the things that can hurt you.
Yeah, if you're vulnerable, you're a little bit fragile. You are susceptible to being hurt. We often talk about how the elderly and children are more vulnerable in our society. We need to take care of them and protect them from physical or emotional harm. Here, we're saying without this fundamental love, Lily would never be able to emerge. So she really needs Greta's fundamental love. Fundamental, anything that's fundamental, guys, just means it's a basic core part of something that you need. It's very central. It's very important to whatever you're doing. So we could have fundamental lives or fundamental facts about something. This is a fundamental love. Without that love, forget it. There's no solid core or base. And it allows Lily the courage to emerge. If you emerge, you come out from hiding or you appear from some place where people can't see you. We often use emerge to talk about clouds that emerge or the sun that emerges from behind the clouds on cloudy days. Oh, the sun's emerged. Or maybe suddenly your talent has emerged. You didn't know you had it and it was kind of hidden and suddenly, oh, look at that. That person's pretty good.
Yeah, so in some cases, I suppose this is the only opportunity for someone's true self to emerge. So indeed, in this particular case, they were able to understand each other and know who they were, so their true selves were able to emerge, to come out into the daylight. And her survival depends on Greta's love and acceptance. So it depends on that. If she does not have Greta's love and acceptance, then she's going to probably get all despondent, all depressed, and probably end up living on the street or something, and maybe even commit suicide. Acceptance means when somebody accepts you and they don't complain about you, they don't try to change you all the time.
Well, the next sentence says the same proves true in reverse. So, Lily's able to become successful and feel good about her life because Greta accepts and loves her. Well, the same is true in reverse, which means Greta's art is able to be successful and flourish because Lily is acting as her muse. Artists often have someone they call a muse. That's someone who inspires them. Maybe a composer has a muse. A lot of times fashion designers who design clothing have a model or someone they're designing in mind. That's a muse. To flourish means to really be successful and to develop well. Indeed, the more Lily comes alive, the more Greta's portraits become a testament of Greta's love for the woman Lily has become. So what's a testament? It's kind of a testimony. It just means it's something that is acting as evidence of something else. kind of proves that something's true, you could say.
Yeah, some kind of proof there that they have love for each other there, even though they're not romantically involved, but they're still close. And of course, lots of people can have close friendships with people without actually being romantically involved. It's okay. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today's lesson. Right now, we're going to listen to something that our Chinese teacher has to say.
文章的第二段提到 Ina 在变成 Lily 之后就开始割舍关于 Ina 的一切事物，想以 Lily 的身份过着重生后的生活。而第三段则提到 Ina 原本的妻子 Greta 对过去有不同的做法。我们看到第三段的第一句 Greta, steadfast in her love and support for both Ina and Lily, doesn't dwell on her husband's rejection of the past. 格雷塔对艾恩娜和莉莉的爱与支持坚定不移，并没有老是想着她丈夫抛弃的过去。这句有个动词 dwell, D-W-E-L-L, 是指 to live somewhere, 也就是居住的意思。例如 Julie has been dwelling in Spain for more than 10 years. 朱莉住在西班牙已经超过10年了。而片语 dwell on 是指 to spend a lot of time thinking or talking about something unpleasant, 也就是花多时间在想或谈论某件不愉快的事。中文常翻译成沉湎于，老是谈着。例如 You should learn from your past mistakes instead of dwelling on them. 你应该要从过去的错误学习，而不是沉湎于过去的错误。以上就是今天的课程，我们下次再会。
Well, that's it, guys. We just finished up our literature unit on the Danish girl. We hope that you understand the novel a bit better, and we really do encourage you to pick up the novel and give it a try. It'll help improve your English.
At the very least, go watch the movie.
Yeah. You can learn some good phrases, and you can better understand how grammar works and good patterns to learn. One of the best things you can do to improve your English is to read more English books, especially novels.
Indeed. So that brings us to the end of our lesson. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again next time. From all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.